in the first preseason game for the New York Giants in the 2022 NFL season. Brian Daboll's debut as New York Giants head coach. The New York Giants come out with the win, 23-21. Last second field goal by Graham Gano, who is always money. The New York Giants come out on top. It's good to be hyped about the game because we won a game, and it's very rare that we see a W next to the win column for the New York Giants. But, that being said, there are a lot of things I really want to talk about in this game, so let's get right into it. Before we start, guys, if you guys are enjoying the content and you guys like what you see on the channel, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. With that being said, we're going to get right into it. Now, the production ain't great right now. We're doing quick post-game thoughts with the webcam and a couple edits here and there, but let's get right into it. The first thing I really want to talk about, this is in no particular order, but the running game really seemed to open up. You guys look at the stat line for the running backs, 33 carries. This is just total running yards, so this includes the quarterbacks as well. But you had 33 carries, 177 yards, and the Giants looked really good running the ball. It wasn't just basic running up the gut. It looked like the running backs had a lot of freedom to run in open space, bounce to the outside. They need to. They had the ability to make the cuts. The running backs coach over there for the New York Giants doing a really good job with the running backs. Their vision looks good. They look like they're a lot tougher, and it looks like they're a lot harder to tackle. And we've seen, as Giants fans, other running backs run the same way these running backs have run tonight, and I'm extremely proud of every single one of them. Saquon looked good. His stat line isn't great, but he didn't get too much of a playing time, but he looked good. Then you go to Gary Brightwell, because we didn't see any of Matt Breida. He did not play in this game, but you go to Gary Brightwell. He looked really good, and then it just kept getting better and better and better. After Brightwell and his great runs where he looked like a mini version of freaking Marshawn Lynch, you go to Antonio Williams, who is a little bit of a sleeker back, but he's a lot more slippery, has almost the same power, has more speed. Antonio Williams looks really good as well. And then you go to literal Sandro Platzgummer, CMC Jr. Sandro Platzgummer is awesome, man. We got to see him have a big run, later on in the game towards the end of the fourth quarter, towards the end of the game. He had a couple of good runs. I think he finished like 3 carries, 21 yards. The running game really seemed to open up. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the running backs, all of them. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep all of them. Obviously, we're probably going to keep 3 of them, Saquon, Breida, and either Brightwell or Antonio Williams. I'm probably leaning Antonio Williams, even though I love Brightwell, and I'm a fan of Brightwell. And Platzgummer, although I love him, I just don't see a place for him on the team, even though I think he belongs in the NFL. I just hope teams give him another chance, and he's probably one of the better success stories, coming from that foreign program, from, different parts of the international program for football players. Next, we're going to stay on the offensive side of the football, talk about the wide receiver and running backs, the depth. This kind of ties into the running game, the first point. The depth of the wide receivers and the running backs look decent. Now, there were a couple of probably, bad plays from the wide receivers. You had Colin Johnson drop a few, Kenny Golladay dropped, but you see the depth and it looks good. Like, if you stay realistic here, like Keelan Doss didn't look any good at all, but you look at who's realistically probably going to make this roster, and going down the list, it looks pretty good. Now, we didn't see anything of Wan'Dale Robinson. He was on the field, but we didn't see him get the ball. Kenny Golladay looks okay. Kadarius Toney didn't play, but if you look at guys like Colin Johnson, you look at guys like Richie James, these are guys I think can make plays in the regular season should any of these guys get hurt. I'm not expecting them to be game breakers or anything like that, but they look like decent depth at the position. And running back, obviously, we just talked about great depth at the running back position, something I did not expect going into the season. Aaron Robinson cannot be our number 2 corner. I know they tried it. I know they experimented with it. I know they gave him plenty of opportunities in training camp to do so. He's been the number 2 corner up until this point, but the Giants need to realize that he is going to be a liability at that number 2 corner spot. Now, before Dory Jackson came in to help with James Bradbury, the number 2 corner spot has been a weak point of this Giants defense for quite a little bit of time. You know, we had Rodarius Williams there. We had Corey Ballentine there. You know, we had Isaac Yiadom there at some point. It's been a shuffle of cornerbacks, and I just don't think Aaron Robinson is going to be any better of the guys I just mentioned. Aaron Robinson is good. He's a slot corner at best. He was drafted to be a backup slot corner, and I'm just not the biggest fan of Aaron Robinson at that outside boundary corner. He's getting picked on often and early. You know, the whole entire first 2 drives of the Patriots that Aaron Robinson was out there, he was targeted. You know, I don't even know who was playing the opposite corner spot because they were never targeted. They were never on the screen. It was always Aaron Robinson. He was getting picked on by Tyquan Thornton, who is okay, and, you know, he allowed a touchdown on him, and then this Wilkerson kid who caught a big pass on him as well. So he attempted a big pass, and honestly beat him, but just didn't come up with the ball. Good play by Aaron Robinson to make up, but I just don't see Aaron Robinson being good in the regular season. I think he's going to be a complete liability. There are a couple of free agent corners that are going to be available, you know, right now. I think the Giants should get busy and start making some calls, whether that be if you want to go the younger route like Kevin King, or do you want to go a little bit older like Xavier Rhodes, or if you want to get right in the middle there and get like a Vernon Hargreaves. I don't know. I'm not a Hargreaves guy. I'm not a Kevin King guy, but just call somebody. You know, if they want to bring in, you know, like Xavier Rhodes, Chris Harris is on the market as well. Like guys that have been proven in the league, even if they're a bit older, just to use as a stopgap corner, just to use as a veteran presence in there would go a long way for the Giants. And having Aaron Robinson as your number 2 corner, I just can't envision the Giants really going through with this and having him as the number 2 corner moving forward. And then obviously with man defense, you're pretty much on an island with you know, the person you're lined up against. So not a lot of safety help to really pull from. Moving on, Beavers and McFadden look like steals. Both of these players made their own respective plays and did very, very well. I know McFadden worked more with the third team. He was a little bit with the second teams as well. Darian Beavers made a couple of good stops, you know, in the box, at the line of scrimmage. Very, very good. I like what I see from Darian Beavers. Very good run stuffer. Micah McFadden, although he's a bit undersized, this guy is an absolute bullet in the run game, especially when they're running outside zone and they're running, you know, to the outside. He's very, very able to create an angle and get to the ball carrier. I love what I see from Micah McFadden. On top of that, Micah McFadden and Darian Beavers have, you know, been documented to be extremely good pass rushers from the linebacker position, and they showed that tonight. Both of them did very good in the pass rush game. Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor look decent. They didn't show us too much, but, you know, as far as making throws and the ability to make throws, I thought they looked decent. I didn't think there was anything to really say, you know, they look bad or Daniel Jones looked bad. I know that everybody wants the narrative to be that, but Daniel Jones did not look bad. He was 6 of 9, 69 yards. He didn't really do anything that would worry me. That's all I can say about that. He didn't do anything that would worry me. You know, and Tyrod Taylor looked okay. There were a couple of times where he looked a little iffy, but he threw the ball very well. He was actually very, very good in the pocket. His pocket presence was very, very good. And, you know, and that brings me to the offensive line. I don't even think I put it in those thoughts. But the offensive line as a whole, as far as like pass blocking, did very, very well. They did good in the run game too. But what I really noticed was the passing game, especially when the first team was out there. John Feliciano in the interior, you know, Shane Lemieux in the time that he was out there, but he went out with a toe injury. You know, at those times, the offensive line actually looked pretty good pass blocking, and that's the biggest thing that I was looking forward to seeing what the end result was in this game. I wanted to see how well the Giants actually upgraded their offensive line. You know, it may look good on paper, but we have to see what it does on the field. Now, granted, this is just preseason, all right? This is just a preseason game, but I like what I'm seeing from the pass blocking so far. It's better than I expected, honestly. Evan Neal struggled, and that's one of my points as well. Evan Neal struggled. He wasn't very good. He didn't do anything impressive. But, I mean, I'm still going to reserve my thoughts for Evan Neal until the regular season happens. I'm not ready to say that he is, like, terrible, okay? I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm just not going to do that. And then Kayvon Thibodeau, he really didn't do much. I mean, he was out there, but he didn't do much. And that, again, is not going to not going to deter me from any of these, those 2 picks. I'm reserving my thoughts on them. Kayvon Thibodeau, we already know what he can do as far as, training camp and stuff like that, and all the moves he's able to do. Preseason is really not where I'm going to be grading these guys like fully. So I just want to see something impressive. I want something to kind of fall back on. We haven't gotten that yet, but I'm not worried about it. So and that being said, and then too many injuries. We had Kadarius Toney. I believe he went out with an injury. Like he didn't even start playing. He tweaked something maybe. He went out with an injury. There were a couple of guys already that did not play. Shane Lemieux went out with an injury. I believe there was another lineman that went out with an injury after that, and it's already starting to rack up, and I'm not a fan of it. Maybe it's just because it's their first game back in a long time. Hopefully that's the case and they come back fine, but it's already starting to worry me, and I'm already starting to get a little scared about that situation. And then last but not least, the pass rush. The pass rush is something that I mentioned in my previous video of they have to show me the pass rush is good, because they're advertising it as it being the strong suit of our team. Obviously, if you look at the defensive line, it's probably the best position we have, or best set collection of players on our team is the defensive line. Whether you go to your starting D tackles, your starting interior D linemen, and your edge rushers, the best starters on our team is the defensive line. And they didn't look that great. I mean, run stuffing was okay, especially the interior run stuff was okay throughout the entire game. But we didn't get to the quarterback at all, besides a blitz from a secondary player, which I can't even remember who got that sack. I can't remember. It slips right out of my head. But we had 1 sack the whole game, and barely any pressures, if any. And the quarterbacks were nice and comfortable in the pocket. The Patriots quarterbacks. The pass rush needs to get better. The pass rush is supposed to be a strong suit, and I know it's preseason, but we have to base it off of something, and the only thing I can base it off of is what I'm looking at on the field. So that being said, that is my thoughts. Preseason thoughts for the Giants week 1. We won the game. That's not the biggest thing, but it's good that we won the game, because it's good for these players to get a boost of morale a bit. It does help, whether or not you believe it, it really does help to actually win games like this and go into the next week feeling a little bit better about yourself, and feeling a little bit better about the players around you, and trusting in the coaching staff. So that being said, guys, that is the video. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed, subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.